River Creek Resort and Casino, featuring UFC action and boxing live on the big screens at TAP 25, the MVP of sports bars, and in the Center Bar. Plus, catch this fall's biggest games. Every goal, every tackle, every home run. River Creek is also home to the Twin Rinks, where rec hockey and community teams come to play. Public skating available. Details at rivercreekresort.com.
River Creek Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Winter in Alberta doesn't mess around.
And neither does Titan Supply.
For over 50 years, we've earned the trust of our customers across a variety of industries.
Because we lead with integrity,
honesty,
and respect.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Brent from Titan Supply. When the weather hits hard,
we're fully stocked with rigging, lifting, and hauling gear that works as hard as you do.
Titan Supply.
Built on trust, driven by safety.
Serving Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary.
Let us help you face the weather the Titan way.
Visit titansupply.ca.
I wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
I do, and I'm going to give you a wonderful memory from that era. Lines, pairings, and memories on today's show for Wolf GMC Buick, family-owned and community-driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. As you know, we're live on YouTube and Sports 1440 AM radio, online at iHeartRadio, Radio Player Canada, and sports1440.ca. After the show, it's Apple and Spotify podcast. We tweeted out on X. Well done. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and J Fenwick 04. Text or call anytime, 833-401-1440. We've got all the hits right at the start of the show. I'm dropping things, Declan sneezing. We're having a great time. We have Bag Milk today at 1 o'clock at 1:20. Andrew Gross from Newsday to talk about the Islanders. Man, they have a goalie go down heading into the holidays, and the backup plays brilliantly well. So Oilers and Islanders tonight going to be a tough one. They're playing really well. Kyle Tucker rumors will address that. NFL football hirings and firings and much, much more. It's going to be a fun show today. We're almost through the week. How the devil did that happen? My goodness. All right, time for the interviews. I'm sorry, the intros. I wish it was an interview. That'd be fun. You can go to his Instagram and see the biggest smile ever as this man holds a Barbenheimer T-shirt up for the camera. His passion is movies, music, and sports. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick.
Yeah, that Barbenheimer shirt rules. Got it from Etsy. It came on the day that Barbenheimer released, and I had my double feature tickets.
I have to ask you something.
I have to answer something.
How long ago was that picture taken, and how long have we known each other?
We've known each other for 8 months, 9 months now, actually. Long time. That picture would have been taken, what would have been, let's see, that was taken in December 2023, so 2 years, 25 months ago. Okay.
I've never seen you smile that much. Like, that's the biggest smile you can manage. I think you would have to, your face would fall off.
I can't even smile like that anymore. I don't know what it is, but that was a great listen, actually. That was our after hours show at NR92. We did our top 10 of 2025. It was great. It was fantastic show.
His media star is rising, and someday he'll be a mogul, which means someday I'll call him and he won't answer. That's what happens when he calls me these days. It's the switcheroo. It's coming like a thief in the night. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger.
Thank you. That was all very nice.
I don't even know if you'd answer the phone if I called you now.
I'm not very good at answering the phone. I'm not very good at answering texts. If you called me, my first instinct would be something is so wrong that I have to pick up the phone.
I'll tell you what,
I have to go help somehow.
If you ever want, I mean this honestly, and I'll get backed up by a lot of people out there, I know it. if you ever want to have a long-term relationship with someone who will not answer the phone when you call, have children, because they just won't answer the phone. You call and you call and you call, and then they'll call you back afterwards when they're ready, or they'll text, "What's up?" You can't answer the call from your dad? I guess I'm a little upset about
Seems
that.
a little personal.
Seems personal.
Sorry, I went off on a tangent there.
Something else going on?
I'll be better. It's all good. It's fine.
Something okay? Do you have a third kid we don't know about?
No, it's all. No, I don't. I do not.
Okay.
I do not. All right. So I'm going to take you guys back. Where were you in 1983 and 84?
I was not even close to around. My dad was 11. No, he was 10.
Yeah, my dad was 13.
Okay.
12,
so
13.
you guys were a generation away. So in 1983, the Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders played in the final. It was a 4-game sweep by the Islanders, their 4th win in a row. And if you just look at the games and the scores, you'll go, well, that wasn't close. It actually was way closer than it looked. But what I remember most about the Islanders, it's seared in my brain. The week afterwards, I had just got married. We were on a honeymoon, and we were doing some other stuff. And I bought the Hockey News, and I put it away. I didn't look at it because I was doing other stuff. And then long time later, I think we might have been driving back to Red Deer. And I open it up, and I read Stan Fischler's column in the Hockey News about the Stanley Cup final. And I didn't commit it to memory, but I still have the copy of the Hockey News. And every once in a while, I'll read it just to prove to myself, number one, that even really smart people like Stan Fischler can be wrong. And number two, that when you have a hot take, it can sear in the mind of somebody forever, which is good and bad. Here's what Fischler said in 1983 after the Oilers lost the Stanley Cup final to the Islanders. There are those who believe that someday the Oilers will win the Stanley Cup. Do not believe it. As long as Glenn Sather runs the Oilers, they can be stopped. Wayne Gretzky is Ted Williams, a winner but not a champion. That's an important distinction. Williams has no World Series ring, and Gretzky, with all of his style and grace, may never win a Stanley Cup. So I remember that to this day, which is, let's see, that's like 42 years ago. And I remember that. And I know I'm not alone. So if you are looking forward to the Islanders and the Oilers because you remember those 1983 and 84 finals, which were fantastic hockey, the Islanders were a great, great team, and so were the Oilers, then the Fischler words probably remind you of the rival, and it was heated. Oh, my God, Billy Smith was so hated in this town, and Glenn Anderson was hated in New York. It was fun times. If you had to, either of you, give me the strongest rivalry of your sporting fandom, what is it?
So you would say it was a heated rivalry?
Yeah, like one that people like.
Your girlfriend
pretty
watching
steamy.
You're a fan, and you hate that guy.
For me, really obvious answer here. I actually have two. The most obvious one, the one that's obviously going to come first for me, is Saskatchewan, Winnipeg. I mean,
Fair.
It goes without saying.
Yeah.
The second one, Boston, Miami. And we're not really in Boston's class anymore, but from like 2020 to 2024, that was one that really got the juices flowing in basketball.
Okay. I kind of understand that. What about you, Josh?
Cavs Warriors, I think, for that 5-year stretch.
Or are we talking overall or like personal to us?
Well, either or. You take the question and run
Well,
with it.
then I would say that's the biggest, but personal to me has been and will forever be Battle of Alberta.
It was big in the 80s, man. I remember I listened to Peter Marr on, I think it was QR, and then I listened to Rod on CFRN, and because I lived in Red Deer, and like even in the preseason, it's like Messier is hammering, whoever it was in the back of the head 10 times and gets a suspension. It was ugly. It was very personal.
Whenever people tell me about this, I always wish hockey was the exact same as it was.
It was.
Then.
It was like it was personal.
So I could be like, man, this is awesome.
You know what you never heard? You never heard anybody said, well, I'm kind of a fan of both. You know how Lansky's always saying, if the Oilers lose, I'd like Calgary to win. That was never in existence unless it was Lansky.
See, that's a thing that I heard that like really annoyed me because that was the same. And that's the same mentality my dad has. Is like if the Flames are out, he doesn't want anyone else to win. He just wants the cup in America.
Totally. That's
And
why he
so-
cut up the Stan Weir card.
Exactly.
Right.
And
And,
so
I totally respect that.
us being raised up, that's the way we were raised. And then I remember sitting in a curling club. I'd subbed for my chiropractor's team. And I heard people saying, oh, well, if one's out, then I just switch up to the other one because I just want to see it back in Canada. And I almost walked up and was like, are you guys bleeping insane or what? Like, that is not the way this works.
I remember years ago, I was taking my car in, and for some reason, I felt like going for a walk. So I walked down to the Tim Hortons, and I walk into the Tim Hortons. It's going to be an hour or so to get my car fixed. So I walk into the Tim Hortons. I ordered Timmy a sit down, and next to me is a mom and dad talking to this little boy that just obviously been from Saturday morning hockey practice or a game, and they're saying to him, you don't have to cheer for the Oilers. They're really bad. Why don't you cheer for Calgary? And I thought, should I intervene? I didn't. I made the wise choice and stayed the hell out of family business. But I totally get that. I do. I understand. It's like
Everyone should.
like last year, I was afraid that Declan was going to renounce his Buffalo Bills fandom because he was so upset about the loss. But then he recovered and he's fine.
Well, I had the correct take at the time, by the way. I just want that on the record.
Have you softened your feeling about your quarterback?
Yeah, but here's the other. No, it's not it's not just a Josh Allen thing, because I love him. I think he's so great. And like I've always said, the alternative compared to what I watched growing up, infinitely better. But now also we've gone from one problem to another. Like now you're in a pool where this playoff pool, it's like, Matt, you have to get it done.
But
except he has his worst team ever.
Yes, he does.
They can't,
outside his
they can't
rookie
stop
season.
the run.
No, they can't. But they're kind of fortunate. Like Denver doesn't really run the ball.
Yeah, but that's one weekend.
Well, there's only 2 games left before the Super Bowl, conceivably, divisional round and championship round.
There's not one team left in the playoffs, really, in my mind, that runs the ball particularly well. Like even the Seahawks, who run the ball a lot, do it at a league average rate. They're like 13th or 14th or whatever.
But if you're so weak against the run, wouldn't the other team double down and maybe game plan to increase their running?
See,
yeah, but like Denver doesn't have that in their arsenal at all. Like they
got a
RJ Harvey legacy game.
Yeah, like forget about it.
They
Like,
got
I ain't scared of no RJ Harvey, bro.
What does Denver have? They got a hobo quarterback and no running game?
Honestly, they have a defense that is going to hold you to like 14 every game, and if they score 17, they're good.
All right.
They're scary that way.
The Broncos haven't won a game against a team that has scored 17 or more points this year. Fun fact.
Are you sure you don't miss JP Lossman?
Wow, what a reference. Yeah, I do not miss JP Lossman at all. He was the quarterback of the team when I really started to get into it. It was him, and obviously I've talked about Roscoe Parrish as a kick returner being kind of the guy who spearheaded my fandom. But yeah, JP, Tyrod, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Nathan Peterman was a guy I had to watch play NFL football. So Josh Allen's better than that, but it's still like my heart. I need more. You play to win the game.
Don't you secretly want like a Tyrod bobblehead?
Kind of.
Yeah. Rockford, sons no longer inherit their father's sports team. Loyalties, it's all about the individual player now. That may well be. My daughter is a Claude Giroux and Eric Carlson fan. Like that's her jam, right? Those are the players she likes. And when she sees them do well, she's very happy, and she's not, associated with any particular team per se. Although she does like it when the Oilers win. So that may be a local kind of thing. I'm not sure. Well, that was interesting.
She just had to look at the bottle of vodka in our window.
All right. Okay. Well, if you get some orange juice, we can help you. There is a cover charge. We have somebody to talk Jays at 12:40. Who do we have?
Thomas Hall.
Okay.
Of Blue Jays Nation.
I'm looking forward to that.
Great interview.
I'm thinking that if we don't get the Tucker signing, I'll ask him about Bouchette and maybe a Savage and that kid Ponce they got from was it Korea or Japan that they get him from?
It was Japan, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Just an update. Jeff Passan has not tweeted about Kyle Tucker signing with the Jays or Bo Bichette signing anywhere.
Do you think they would get both? I don't think they would.
They have the money to get both. Kevin brought this up. They have the money to get both, but they're not going to get it because at that point, it's almost like an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do with everybody?
Dodgers North.
Because if you get Tucker, like, you have to ice somebody out. and that person is probably Santander because he played so poorly last year, but you're paying him so much money that you kind of have to play him.
Can you not offload him, though? Couldn't you trade him?
Yeah, I mean, but he played so bad yesterday, so you're going to get, or last year, so you're going to get what?
Who cares?
Like
Trade him to
nickels
Cleveland.
on the dollar?
Trade him to Cleveland, take some money. You want to get your guy. You want to win.
Trade him
right?
to the Rockies. No, they could use an
Oh,
exciting
yeah.
player.
He'd be good there. I'd get him on my fantasy team.
There you go.
The Athletic today, I want to do this, and we're going to take a break. We got a busy day. Lots to going on. We'll talk about the Oilers. I promise. Lines and pairings coming up in the next segment. The Athletic asked over 100 people in sports which leaders they most admire, and then they listed 40 of them. At number 34, Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers. Greatest hockey player in the world at the moment. McDavid has led the Oilers back-to-back Stanley Cup finals, hasn't broken through yet. He remains a model by leading by example. Hillary Witt, New Hampshire hockey coach, said he makes everyone around him better. My only surprise was that he was 34.
Wait, sorry, what list was this?
They asked a bunch of people in sports, world's top leaders in sports, the most admired player. And McDavid made the list, but not high on the list. Now, at number 12, Jalen Hurts of the
Was he
Philadelphia
actually?
Eagles. Well, I'm not lying to you. Why would I lie to you? And also, at number 5, Andy Reid, which I liked.
I'm going to need a little bit more background on what, like, do they mean admired by the guys in the room? Do they mean admired by other athletes?
Personally, admired by the individual. We asked 100 people in sports which leaders they most admire. It's pretty much in the intro that I mentioned.
Who's number one?
Steve Kerr.
Really?
Interesting.
I don't like anything about this.
And this is the big 4 sports leagues, or just
No,
all of
it's
sports?
Don Staley, South Carolina women's basketball coach, is number 2.
Yeah, it's a good
Steph
pick.
Curry at number 3. Number 4 is
I'm sure it's
Reed.
not like Gene. I can't.
Gino Auriemma.
Yeah,
Auriemma.
I'm sorry, that's 4.
He's 4. I
He's
feel like
4.
that would have been 1.
No, Gino is 4, but that's okay. I mean, it's a list, right? So
Yeah.
it's not a vote.
This
it's
is a
just,
bad list. Well,
It's
it
not
was
a bad list.
It was a vote.
You said
sort of. They asked who's the.
You said the number 4 guy should be 1. That's not so bad.
Yeah, but this list, like, this is the we're going back to this, like,
You're just
we're going
mad
back to the
because
handsome
Jalen
people
Hurts
list.
is on the list.
We're
Why
going
don't
back
you
to the
admit-
handsome people list.
Why don't you?
No.
admit
No.
that Jalen Hurts is
Because
on the
like
list?
this is
and
a
you're
ranking.
mad?
You ask 100 people, 100 people give you you their answers, and then wherever, like, however many people answer the same person, that affects where their ranking is in the list. Now, these people objectively are dumb.
So you Kerr is number 1 is dumb.
Yes.
Wow.
No offense to Steve Kerr.
I'm surprised by that.
No offense to Steve Kerr.
I'm surprised.
I
by
just
that.
don't think he would be number 1.
And why?
Hey, Sam
Could
Presti
you-
was number 6.
Could
by the
you
way.
could you tell me?
All-time leader.
Could you tell
Steve
me why
Kerr,
Kerr?
because at
No.
the end of the day, he is a coach. I feel like Steph Curry, admired guy in the room. It's a guy who every day comes in, comes out,
Again, it's
leads
not.
by example.
But we asked 100 people which leaders they most admire. They're not in the room.
Don't care.
Well, okay. I mean, I bring things to you, and then you twist them
Yeah,
your
you
way.
brought me a bad list,
Listen,
Al.
you're just mad because Jalen Hurts is number 12 on the list. Why don't you admit it? You'll feel better.
No, I don't care
It's
that Jalen Hurts is
confession
on the
time.
list. Do I think it's weird? Absolutely.
Why don't you just say, "Hi, Al. It's been 3 years since my last confession," and then just say it's because of Jalen Hurts. You'll just feel better.
Wait, can I read why the voters, like what the voters said section for Jalen Hurts? This was from one person. Do you mind?
Well, not at all. I read the McDavid one. Why
Yeah.
would I mind this?
This was from Olivia Smoliga, who's an Olympic swimmer. She said, he's so calm. When someone could crash out at all the things that he's experienced, he just shows how steady he is and centered in himself, and I truly admire that. I give her credit. Jalen Hurts is a guy who is absolutely confident in himself and his belief system and who he is. And I respect that for sure.
Stoic.
So very stoic. So to
Loving
see that resonate with others, I can understand that.
Yeah, so good. All right. I enjoyed this. Okay, on the way we have rumors. We've got a Blue Jays talk at 12:40. At 1 o'clock today, it's our friend Bag Milk from Oilers Nation to preview the Oilers, and Andrew Gross from Newsday will be coming your way at 1:20. Declinations today is Declan CAA, I believe. Is that correct? All right. And we'll be talking about the football, or is there something else going to be happening?
Oh, well, yeah, we'll talk a little bit of the football preview, the Indy Miami National Championship game. There's a point shaving scandal that I'm not all too familiar with, but we'll touch on that. But it'll be a quick one. I really just want to kind of pump up the game a little bit, talk about Kurt Signetti, but I'll make it quick and we'll finish up with some oil.
Point shaving and betting. I just can't believe this is happening. All right. Rumors next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Andrew Walker, host of the postgame show on Sports 1440. After every hockey game this season, tune in and chime in as we talk about the game. It's all sponsored by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Don't get left in the cold. Visit legacyheating.ca.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action. Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with a Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert. And always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk. And it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
The new double cheesy melt at McDonald's. We're talking 2 juicy, mouth-watering 100% Canadian beef patties, 2 slices of cheesy goodness, with even more melty, cheesy sauce on top. Topped with pickles, then crispy and grilled onions. The way it all comes together, you don't just eat it, you melt into it. The double cheesy melt, only at McDonald's. For a limited time only at participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Why pay dealership prices when you can get the same quality for less? Hi, it's Lisa, and here at Ed's Auto Salvage, we've been Alberta's trusted source for used auto parts for nearly 50 years. From engines to mirrors, transmissions to tires, we've got it all at prices guaranteed to keep your wallet happy. Shop local, shop smart. Shop Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock. Be sure to visit us online at edsautosalvage.com and get your vehicle back on the road for less.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440. We're brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Great songs. A little breezy today, right? You know, I'm going to say something now so that you can get mad at me, because that's the role I like to play. Agitator. I think winter's over. No more snowstorms. No more terrible, terrible cutting, biting winds. Put your parkers away.
In what world should you ever be saying this? Next week, next Friday, it literally goes back down to like minus 23.
My job is done here.
Saw that.
Like, what is wrong with you? We're looking at overnight lows of like double-digit negatives.
No, I'm sorry. I'm
like you're just objectively wrong.
Well, I'm countering your comment about the article that I brought about.
And also, February hasn't hit yet, which statistically is the coldest month of the year here.
It's time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself. GreatCanadianSolar.com.
Rumor has it. Lowetide tried to get a degree in meteorology, and they were like, no, man, you can't.
You know who has a really good handle on all of the weather is Josh Clausen. Good guy, too.
Where? Nate alum.
Nice fellow. Most Nate people are good. How's the new person? Who's the work experience person? How's she
Big
been?
Mike. She's very nice.
Right.
Haven't talked to her once.
Well, that comes after week 3 or 4, right? Like, she's got to get the lay of the land before she talks to the heavy hitters in the building.
Naturally. I don't know why she talks to me then, but,
All right, the Oilers line up tonight. McDavid with Hyman and Nuge, Podkolzin and Kapanen will be Draisaitl's wingers. No change there. Roslovic with Savoy and Ike Howard draws back in for Mangiapane. Lazar with Janmark and Frederick. Lazar in the middle is good. So is Roslovic. They kind of had a little bit of a hiccup in the lineup when they put Frederick in the middle the other night. And took Lazar out. I don't think we'll see that again for a while. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Emberson, which looked pretty good. Wallman, Stastny as well. Ingram gets the start. I have no quarrel with that. Do any of you, gentlemen, have an argument that Connor Ingram starts?
No. That was Declan, by the way.
This is Josh. No, I have no quarrels with Connor Ingram getting the start.
He's really calm, right?
He's doing well at his job.
As are you.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah. I just he's doing good work.
I think he is. The NHL's I remember in the late 1960s when the expansion came in, all the expansion teams, all they tried to do is tie the original 6. So you'd have like 21 ties and 18 ties for some teams. It was really kind of crazy. But this year, I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but and they don't call them ties anymore. They're called OT. But there's a lot of them. And like Vegas Golden Knights have 12 overtime points. That's why they're in first place.
Yeah, ludicrous. There is you see it every day when you look back at scores and stuff like that. You're like, oh my. 3 games went into overtime. There was one day where either this must have been like a month ago or something, except for one team, every game was either an overtime game or a shutout.
Yeah, it's really bad.
I hate the overtime points so much.
While
we're on the topic,
back in the olden days, when the earth was green and the railway didn't run in this country, ties were accepted. You'd leave the rink and that was a 3-3 tie. You'd go, oh, it's a good game. I think that's a probably a fair result. And it would be 1 point and nobody got excited. Nobody got angry. But if you're going to do 1 point for an overtime loss,
you got to go 3.
Well, you do 3 for regulation win, 2 for an overtime win, and 1 for an overtime loss, right?
I'm so on board with that. It's not even funny.
Right.
And we're agreeing on something, which that's how we're right on this one. Is that your ideal way of doing it?
I'm open to any idea that isn't the one we have.
Yeah, I agree totally. I could not agree more. The loser points are so ridiculous. Like an overtime loss is a loss, and you will get seasons. You will get points in the season when a team in the standing has like 6 more losses than the team behind them. But because of the loser points, they're ahead of them in the standings. It is such a joke. Like you lost the game.
Amen. It just totally is. I think every time a team ties and they go to overtime and they played badly, somebody should punch Gary Bettman in the arm, and then he'd get rid of it. Especially if it was like, somebody hulking,
like a Milan Lucic
or Colin Campbell. Maybe Lucic would be better.
Lucic needs something to do, man.
I was going to disagree with you, but you might be right,
Yeah, it's kind of like when they... Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's kind of like in the UFC when they just kept letting BJ Penn fight, even though he was like 12 years past his prime, because if he didn't, he was just going to commit crimes in Hawaii. It's kind of like that with Lucic. Like, you got to let him play so he doesn't do other stuff.
Okay, I set aside 7 minutes here. So hopefully we can get through this next headline, and you jokers will give me information and share with the audience your gigantic brains. John Harbaugh expected to become Giants' next head coach. I am a fan of the Eagles, and they play in the same division. I don't hate the Giants like I do the Cowboys. I couldn't explain how in 5 minutes, but it's true. How afraid should I be of the Giants now if Harbaugh goes there?
I think you should be afraid. They've had such terrible coaches for so long.
Brian Daboll won Coach of the Year.
I know. And but that was a one-off. That was a weird year. I know they won a playoff game too, and that was so strange. But it was like, man, what happened in New York? And the very next season, they dropped off a cliff. And you're like, yeah, you know what? Never mind. That makes sense. This team on paper is good. Like, full stop. I think when you look at what the Giants have, just by like name value, whatever, like that D-line should have been the best in the league. And it wasn't. And like, obviously Malik Neighbors tore his ACL, and that's terrible. So he was out. Cam Scadaboo had his injuries. That sucks. So did Jackson Dart, who's, I'd say, a league average quarterback. He's better than the worst quarterbacks, but not as good as
Does he have upside?
He has upside.
Okay.
As long as he stops leading with his head, I think.
But the coach can coach him up, right?
The coach can coach him up.
Right.
Same with the defense, whatever. Like, everything you look at from the New York Giants, you go, hey, you know what? This should be a winning club. And now you have a coach who has 3 seasons in his entire career where he's finished sub 500. This year being one of them.
Okay. That's sort of what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Okay. There's all kinds of other NFL coaching rumors. Anything catch your eye, or anybody who's a good fit, maybe getting a phone call or an opportunity to... I understand that Tomlin they're calling about, whether or not they can talk to Tomlin to coach some of the teams. Are you surprised by that?
Well, hold on. Before we get to that, I don't think you should be scared of the Giants right now. I think Josh is grossly overestimated.
Well, he does that all the time, Declan, as you know.
Listen, I think John Harbaugh is a really good coach. I think they're going to be on the upswing. But I think by the time Jackson Dart rounds into form of who he is in the totality of a player, like, I think you're going to have a few more years of the Eagles being a clear number 1 team in that NFC East.
Even with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, like, I don't think Jalen Hurts is bad, but I just think
hammering him away all week. I just had to put in a story I found that said something nice about him to change the balance.
I don't think he's bad, but I really think, and I honestly think you guys both agree with this, even if you don't admit it. I think Josh has been pretty much on my side with this. I think they are limited at the most important position by Jalen Hurts, and they have a roster that should be, like, they're paying him $275 million to just kind of be an average quarterback.
Well, and he has been hurt, and it does appear to have altered his career trajectory. So I'm all like, I love Hurts. I will always love him forever. Two Super Bowls, won one of them. So it's like he's a made man forever in my eyes.
That's valid. That is valid.
But I would trade him for Prescott if it means that the Eagles will win another Super Bowl, because I don't care. I'm not loyal.
Mm-hmm.
I'd trade you for a good steak.
Fair.
Yep. I'd trade you for a broken washing machine. So,
Jackie, what was that? It was Monix?
Yeah. He traded for Monix and Semi-Pro, and they got it broken.
Rob says, FYI, coldest month of the year in January is January, not February. Go Lowetide. Winter is over. Thanks, Ron. He said Rob, and then it's Ron. Ron. No loser points, period, says Chomskers. I mean, I would be okay with that. I would. But I think also you could have a tie. A tie's fine, or 3 points for a regulation win.
If you do no loser points, I feel like you got to go from 3 points regulation win to 2 points OT win.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's fair.
But what about this? Okay, so no loser point in OT. What do you give them a loser point in the shootout?
No, I don't think there should be a shootout. It's
I agree. Like, I hate the loser point, but I do like the 3-2-1-0 system.
Yeah. I think we both agreed there. Triple C in a truck. Hurts is the only quarterback to have a new OC every year and make it to the playoffs. Aha! I don't have anything. I just wanted to do that.
Like but also like look at some of the OCs he's had. Like it was Kevin Petula was really the only one who was bad. Like there's a reason everyone else kept leaving, getting head coaching jobs. Like, yeah, it's like the turnover's tough, but it's still the same umbrella system under Sirianni.
Darcy says, good afternoon, Lowetide. You're absolutely right. I'll always read those. Winter is over. February is not the coldest month. January is, but a lot of people think the cheese lid off our cracker if we're thinking winter is over. But I like your idea. Well, I just like mentally just say it's done. I'm finished. I'm finished. It doesn't. I know I got a 2-week cruise in the Caribbean coming up in late January, and when I get back, it's going to be over. Is fine. But if you just I refuse to participate in another minute of winter, is what I'm saying. To hell with that noise. I'm moving on.
All right, now I'm going to disagree with the statistics because I've experienced more February cold snaps than any other month.
Stop the presses, ladies and gentlemen. Math is wrong. Josh feels like February is colder.
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
I just learned how to be not ignorant, stubborn, thanks to you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I know your dad.
Yeah, he's not the most stubborn of them all. You're definitely more stubborn than him.
Au contraire. I disagree.
I'm sorry. Who lived with him for 20 years?
That is fair. That is fair. You're absolutely right about that, and I do take that.
Insider information. That's me.
There you go. A tie is not a loss, which means loss in overtime. It's a loss. Shootouts are ties with a tiebreaker. The stats don't count. So it's a tiebreaker, not a win or a loss. Yeah, people should be able to walk away with 1 point each and not just, this is all Bettman's fault. He ruined hockey. And I know that he supported the Oilers when they really needed him to. And I respect that. And I will always defend him in that area. But the whole overtime doinky dinky thing it changes everything. Everybody plays more. The goal scoring statistics get wonky. And then some clown said not long ago that the shootout goal should count. What the hell is going on out here? No way.
Who said that?
Some hockey player.
Oh.
By the way, you sneezed in the first segment. Are you okay?
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I did let two, actually. I let two pretty big sneezes go.
But you're getting better, right?
Yeah.
No,
okay.
He's not.
I'm allergic to nonsense.
Well, boy, are you on the wrong show.
The system was sussing it out right off the beginning.
Yeah. All right. So we have Bag Milk at 1, Andrew Gross from Newsday at 1:20, and Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation to talk about Tucker, Bichette, Savage, maybe Ponce if we have time. All straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
For the Mustangs. Into Miller, defended by him from half court. Long throw in, caught by Marino, the jumper. The Cats come back to win. Exit, so he spins deeper and leaves it for Jeff. Jeff finds Heischer. Here comes Nico Heischer. Gets goal. The captain puts a pull-off in this one, and the Devils beat the Kraken by the final score 3-2 in OT. Second goal of the game for Heischer.
Well, I can't tell you how huge this goal is after Seattle came so close at one end, and Nico Heischer is off to the races on a nice pass from Luke Hughes. He gets in behind. And Donnie, I almost did your job there. I yelled out score because I saw it happening. We're pretty excited up here because you want this team to find some traction. And after the Minnesota win, you needed this game.
A few months past Thanksgiving, I want to give thanks right now. This is the time of year when so many people go to the new RV show and buy their new RVs.
All the new RV stores are bragging about the latest makes and models.
That's right, Bob. Those beautiful state-of-the-art RVs are brand new right up until the time they leave the showroom. Then they're used. Just like every quality used RV on our lot, somebody pays full price at the RV show or at the new RV store, and in a matter of seconds, it's worth tens of thousands of dollars less just because they picked it up.
Where does all that money go, Rick?
It stays in our customers' pockets, Bob, because we sell those same RVs just a few years later. If it wasn't for new RV buyers, we'd be out of business. That's why we give thanks every year. You make it all possible.
And that's no bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
No fighting. No fighting. No fighting. Sectarians.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned, community driven. We're making it easy. Visit WolfGMCBuick.com. We have Bag Milk straight ahead at 1 o'clock. And we're joined now by Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation to talk about the Toronto Blue Jays, who are having a hell of an offseason. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. Glad I was able to hop on with you guys on a busy day like today.
Okay, so Tucker in the news. Apparently it's the Mets, the Dodgers, the Jays. Okay, I'm going to just play devil's advocate here. These 2 days away from turning 29, probably a fairly long contract. I love lefty hitters with hair on their ass who can hit home runs. I think that's ideal. You put him with, Guerrero, and you've got a hell of a 1-2 punch there early in the lineup. There's a lot of positives about it. But having said that, it's another big contract signed by the Jays. They've been very busy. They've done a lot of work. Do you think this is extremely worthwhile, or is there a danger here?
I mean, there's always a danger with any player in regards to a long-term deal in this capacity, but I think with Kyle Tucker, he is somebody that has been dealing with injuries the past couple of seasons, so and that has prevented him from reaching his full ceiling as the superstar player that he is. But I think when you look at the makeup, you look at the offensive profile, Kyle Tucker does a lot of good things that the Blue Jays already do well as an offense, and because of that would fit in really well with this team. But definitely there are some, interesting wrinkles about the contract, and we don't know any of the reported details of the parameters that the Blue Jays have been discussing with Kyle Tucker, but chances are, we'd be looking at a long-term deal somewhere in the range of 8 to 10 years, probably upwards of $300 million or more. And when you get into that territory, there's always going to be a ton of concern. But I think when you look at the resume with Kyle Tucker, he's somebody that at least, throughout the majority of that deal would be somebody who would be able to live up to those high expectations that he would have.
I look at all of the possible destinations, and they're somewhat problematic. I thought this would have been a long time ago. The Mets have Soto, who's a wonderful player, but he's also left-handed, and that's another outfielder who's Soto's still on a lot of bases, but he's not fast, and there's some defensive worries about his future. And then out to the Dodgers, where I just feel like it's a little bit of overkill there. They can use them. I know they could, but I feel like the Jays may have an opportunity here simply because it's Guerrero being a righty and Tucker being a lefty. There's some logic there. And if the player is looking at where he wants to spend the next while, considering the personality he has, Toronto might be a good fit.
Yeah, definitely. Right. I mean, you look at that matchup potential that the Blue Jays would have, and George Springer at the top, you could easily see having Kyle Tucker in that two-hole, potentially sandwiching a lefty between those righties, it would certainly be a beautiful, fun little matchup game for John Schneider and the Blue Jays coaching staff to play with. And you're right, like the fit with the Mets, like sure, it would make their offense a lot deeper. But when you look at Juan Soto, who last season, statistically speaking, was the worst defensive right fielder in all of baseball, Kyle Tucker himself, like he's not as bad defensively as Juan Soto, but he's average to below average. And he's somebody that throughout his career has largely played right field. So you'd be asking him to move to left field. And, that would add to a lot of more questions in regards to what their defense would look like. And already, like one of the big themes for the Mets offseason has been improving their defense as a whole. And sure, they've brought in Marcus Semien, who of course is a former Gold Glove winner, but he's also somebody who is in the back half of his career. And as well, when you look at the Mets outfield, there are a lot of holes there. And if you're adding Kyle Tucker to the mix, it's going to be really hard to significantly improve that outfield defense as a whole.
So I'm looking at Fangraphs and the depth chart, the roster resource depth chart. And Springer leads off, Addison Barger, who had a really good first half and then faded a little bit, but a lot of fans due to some great work in the postseason. Then Vladdy, Santander, Kirk, Varsho. If they sign Tucker, does that automatically mean Bichette's gone Bichette's gone because they signed Tucker?
Yeah, I think so. I think even from a financial standpoint, when you're looking at an offseason where the Blue Jays have already made $337 million in financial commitments, I think fitting Bichette into that picture as well as Tucker, it would probably be very far-fetched. And I don't really know how you would even make the roster fit with those two guys on top of the pretty full roster that the Blue Jays are already dealing with as is. I mean, even if they add a Kyle Tucker, you're cutting into playing time for guys like Addison Barger, Davis Schneider, even Kazumu Okamoto. Like I would think he'd be more as a platoon option for the Blue Jays, just as a way to get Addison Barger some consistent reps and having him play a little bit more third base. But I don't see a situation where the Blue Jays can add Tucker and Bichette at this point in the offseason.
I know he's a really good center fielder because I watch him make great plays, but is Varsho good enough to play between Tucker and Soto all year?
Yeah, I think Varsho, like he's elite defensively, right? And if he can stay healthy, that certainly makes the Blue Jays outfield defense, up there alongside one of the top groups in Major League Baseball. But it will be a challenge if you have Kyle Tucker on one side and you have Anthony Santander on the other side. Those are two guys who are certainly somewhat of liabilities in the field, and it would certainly be a big test for Dalton Varsho. But if there's anyone who can be capable of taking on that responsibility, I wouldn't put it past him for Varsho to be the guy to do it.
Thomas Hall, our guest from Blue Jays Nation on Sports 1440 and the Lowdown with Lowetide. Let's move to the starting rotation. Gausman, obviously, the ace of the staff, but I love the Cease addition. Bieber, we assume that he's going to be, 100% at some point early in the year. Yasavich looked so good. You've got to run him. And Cody Ponce is such an interesting name. I mean, I've been kind of reading about what he's, what he is now as opposed to what he was when he left and went overseas. But how do you feel about this starting five compared to, say, last year when guys like Bassett and others were part of the rotation?
Yeah, I think it's a huge upgrade for the Blue Jays just comparing to what they had at the beginning of last season. I think it's definitely an improvement with stuff over pitchability, which is certainly something the Blue Jays have relied on in the past, where you're adding guys who are exceptional with the experience and the knowledge of knowing how to get guys out and pitch around trouble. But now they're rostering a rotation that has a lot of good stuff. And you also have still some veteran experience in that rotation as well with Kevin Gausman and Shane Bieber. And you have a lot of flexibility and versatility too, because it's a rotation that's deeper than just those 5 starters, right? You also have Jose Barrios potentially returning to the team, assuming they don't make any sort of movements between now and the start of the season, but that's still a possibility. You also have Eric Lauer coming back into the mix. And, I think between Cody Ponce, Jose Barrios, and Eric Lauer, if all 3 of those guys are still in the mix come spring training, we could be looking at a scenario where those 3 guys are competing for 2 spots on the team, one being the 5th starter job and the other being the 8th roster spot in the bullpen. And, as well, those guys would add a little bit of a layer of protection in case Shane Bieber needs a little bit more time building up in spring training and isn't ready to go when opening day rolls around. And as well, I think there's a strong possibility that the Blue Jays will monitor Trey Savage's workload, considering how much they pushed him in his first season of pro ball last year. And, at the end of the day, the Blue Jays want to ensure that their best pitchers are ready for the stretch run and are ready to sustain this marathon of 162 games. So as lucky and as fortunate as they have been in recent years to not have to scramble all that too much when guys go down, or if guys go down due to injury, eventually that luck is going to run out. And they've done a great job this offseason to build up enough depth so they can sustain any sort of uncertain hiccups that could arise.
Final question for you, Louis Varland. I don't know where he's going to pitch. I know he apparently can pitch every day, which is awesome. Do you see like spot starts and maybe like the 5th, 6th for him, or do you think it's a possibility he would either close or maybe find that rotation?
Yeah, I think for right now, the Blue Jays, with how deep their rotation is, they're probably not looking at Louis Varland as a starting option. I think they would probably prefer to keep him at the back end of the bullpen, but John Schneider loves versatility at his disposal. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Louis Varland potentially make a few opener starts next season. But I think the large portion of his role will be as a primary setup man. He'll probably get a few opportunities in save situations as well. So the Blue Jays aren't running down Jeff Hoffman and using him anywhere as much as they did last season, because the last couple of years for him, his workload has been pretty high. So I would think they'd want to try and mitigate that a little bit. And having a guy like Louis Varland, who was probably right up there with Hoffman as the most trusted arm in the Blue Jays bullpen in October, I envision him having a very big role in this Blue Jays team in 2026.
Thanks for this so much. Appreciate it. And good luck today. I know you're going to be really busy either way.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, guys.
There you go. Thomas Hall from Blue Jays Nation. Rob says, it is Rob. Also, if your co-host, that's young Josh here, is going with feeling as opposed to decades of statistics, then sure, February is the coldest month, which surprises me because that's, Matt Fenwick's son. And I know he knows the value of statistics, but he's decided that February is the coldest month of the year based on his own experience, which we have to respect.
Creating my own statistic over here, the Fenwick, but it's for weather.
That could work, Matt says hockey can be very unpredictable. Who would have known 45 games into the season, the Buffalo Sabres would have a better winning percentage than the Edmonton Oilers. That's crazy. Yeah, it's especially now when it's all, you look up and down the standings and it's different shades of gray. Everybody's kind of equal. And so you have great hot streaks and great cold streaks. And it's important to mitigate those wild changes in your fortunes whenever possible. It's just really hard to do, right? Like you get a big injury and it has a big impact, and or goaltending goes sideways. And the goaltending, statistically speaking, is not terribly improved since Stuart Skinner got dealt. But I think the perception, and part of it, I think, is because Connor Ingram looks more calm in the net, and they've been winning, been scoring more goals. I think the perception is that the goaltending has improved. And I have to say, I confess, I really like Ingram's game. Greater Man Jay says, what's this generation thing? These guys been here for 2+ decades. They think otherwise than the stats suggest. I know. There's a lot of feeling in young people today.
The eye test of weather.
They feel things.
It's okay to feel these days, Al. It's not the 50s anymore. It's okay to feel.
Reject statistics, logic, reason, all those things. But in fairness to them, it's not like they're getting paid, huge amounts of money. It's not like they can drive $700 cars around like we used to. The world has changed, and not necessarily in their favor.
I was going to say, let's not say them, because I kind of always felt like January was the coldest month too. The stats back it up. Apparently, I haven't looked into it. That's what people are telling us. But I was always a January is the worst month kind of guy.
Because of the Sundogs is why I thought January was. But, I would be prepared to listen to statistical, evidence. Your feeling is not it.
You're thinking of sundials, and those were ancient Egypt.
You've never seen a sundog? Come on now. They are like a harbinger, and not in a good way. Isn't Tucker's career run saved above expected as a right fielder? Which is why I guess talking about Tuck as a below average right fielder. Well, I'm looking, if they're signing to an 8-year deal, he's 29 now, right? So, I mean, when do the legs go? 31? The bat speed starts to go at 31. So these are all things. They're all things to consider, right? And if the Jays had a terrific young outfielder who could hit 35 bombs, then they wouldn't be talking to Tucker. I have a question. Have I called Kyle Tucker Jason Tucker yet on the air? Because I keep doing it off the air.
Not on the air. You did do it pre-show, as you mentioned.
Right.
You came to me and you said, I want a Jays guest to talk Jason Tucker. And I did that old guy in the podcast meme. Jason Tucker, the Eskimo?
Well, I really liked him. He was a really good player. Remember Terry Vaughn? That was a hell of a team. That was. What was that, 20 years ago?
Oh, more now, probably. But close to that, though. Yeah. I'm thinking of guys like mine and Josh's age, where like Fred Stamps was kind of the Eskimo receiver in town. Darius Bowman.
Yeah. Do you remember any quarterback aside from Riley, or like previous to Riley, or is he the guy?
No, yeah, like obviously Ricky Ray and Jason Moss for sure.
You remember them?
Oh, of course. Yeah. That was when I started really watching football when I was like 6'7". To do the meme. That literally just was when I started watching. And those guys were the quarterbacks. So yeah. Nealon Green in Saskatchewan, Marcus Crandall into Kerry Joseph.
Yeah.
Anthony Calvillo in Montreal.
Good days. By the way, when I started watching CFL football, it was like Don Jonas and Peter Lisk. Joe Theismann was in Toronto with the Argonauts. Quite the time.
I remember that one season Casey Printers had in BC. That was magical.
Wild. Yeah. You're right. Okay, on the way, bagged milk at 1 o'clock at 1:20 today. Andrew Gross from Newsday. And Declinations, we're going to talk Declan CAA. A little bit of college football and more straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors Inc. Floors done right for homes or businesses. Visit the new showroom, 11577 149th Street, now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 to 2. Plus, visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring your next flooring project to life. Edmonton Oilers, of course, in action tonight. They'll be playing host to the New York Islanders, 7 p.m. puck drop for this one. And it will be Connor Ingram in the starters net. NHL action gets going today with 4 games at 5. Montreal, Buffalo, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, San Jose, Washington, and Vancouver and Columbus. In the NBA, action gets going currently between Memphis and Orlando. That one part of the Prime Video series. Also at 5, we're going to see Phoenix and Detroit, Miami and Boston. In the late game in the league, we'll see the Charlotte Hornets in LA to take on the Lakers. News around the sporting world is 15 former NCAA basketball players among those charged in an alleged scheme to point shave and fix games. Kyle Tucker's decision could come within the could come today, and he is down to the final three teams, the Blue Jays, Mets, and Dodgers, on where he will land. And reportedly, the Calgary Flames not eager to trade Coleman, but Anderson and Kadri are both on the block. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Mr. Rooter goes skiing. Sick gear, Mr. Rooter. Are you ready to hit the slopes?
Not yet. I need to report a possible crime.
Oh no, what's happening?
I saw a bunch of hooligans discussing shredding the half pipe. As a plumber, I've taken the Hippocratic Oath to do no harm and act in the best interests of all pipes, whether PVC, copper, or otherwise.
It's made of snow, Mr. Rooter.
Snow? Things are worse than I had feared.
There's no better plumber than Mr. Rooter.
Across rural Alberta, volunteers and community groups work hard to make life better for their neighbors, creating new playgrounds, better rinks, and gathering places that bring us together. Vision Credit Union is proud to lend these local heroes a helping hand. Apply today for a Helping Hand grant up to $10,000 to support your community's next big idea. Let's make great things happen together. Applications are open until January 31st, 2026. Learn more at whatsyourshare.ca. You know, this year I can't decide what to work on for my New Year's resolution. See, my confidence, my appearance, or my general happiness.
Why not improve all three by finally addressing your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. Receding hairlines and bald spots can chip away at your self-image, make you look older, and feel unattractive. Let's discuss your options for regaining a full natural head of hair and make this the year you get your mojo back. Book a free first consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. wolfgmcbuick.com.
Owned, community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. We're joined now by our friend Bag Milk from Oilers Nation. Bag Milk, how are you?
I'm doing wonderfully, Al. It's a lovely day, a little bit windy, but we're making it through.
Your voice sounds different today. Are you on some kind of new expensive microphone?
No, these are just my AirPods. I'm glad I sound good. Normally it is my cell coverage down in the River Valley. It's very choppy, so we must just have a good line today.
That's got to be it. All right. Well, that's good news. I like it. I'm enjoying it. So the Oilers go back to Lazar on the fourth line and Ike Howard on the third line. I like that four-line rotation that they're doing now. I'd also like them to back off the minutes from McDavid and maybe even Draisaitl a little bit. What's your take on those two things?
Yeah, I mean, I agree on both counts. I think that, number one, first of all, I think that the top six is really working right now. Nuge, McDavid, Hyman, that trio works. We know it. It's proven. We love it. But Podkolzin, Draisaitl, and Kapanen has been a really interesting trio. We know Leon likes to play with Pods on his left side, but Kapanen, since coming back from injury, he's been a man on fire. He's hitting, he's shooting, he's making plays, and you love to see it. And then going to your point about the third line, I really like the way they look. Now, they haven't had the success on the scoring sheet that we want, but they're producing chances. They're getting quality minutes. And I think it's a matter of time before the dam breaks for that third line, at least a little bit. And then on the fourth line, I actually think that Janmark, Lazar, and Frederick, they've got some nice mojo going together. They've had some really nice games where they've produced some extended shifts in the offensive zone. They've ran the cycle. I even think Frederick is playing significantly better with those two beside him. So I really like the way the Oilers have made up their forward lines. But then, of course, that leaves our boy Andrew Mangiapane on the outside once again. Though I did think the last two games he was pretty quiet on that dad's trip. So I really like the way the forward line looked tonight. I like that they went back to it. And more importantly, I like that Chris Knobloch is giving these trios a chance to figure out some chemistry with each other.
Yeah, and I think it's important because we still don't know, if Savoy and Howard are to play in the playoffs. That I think that Savoy has been pretty responsible for a rookie. Frederick is still figuring it out. But both of them have to score more if they're going to be counted on. And if they can't count on them, then they're going to have to change out Mangiapane and probably bring in one inexpensive player on waivers a la Kasperi Kapanen, or an inexpensive trade as they did with Vasily Podkolzin. This roster still isn't set in the bottom six, but I do like the way they've been playing recently. What's your take on Roslovic in the middle?
I don't think it's ideal. And I think that if he said, hey, Bag Milk, what is your ideal trade target for the deadline? I think that 3C is a spot that I've started to pay attention to a little bit more. When we had Adam Henrique there, he's obviously out. And then whether he's a 30C or a 4C, that's a different debate. But ideally, I think I'd rather have Roslovic on the wing. I think he's just better there. It gives him less responsibilities to go out and play offensively. A two-way game hasn't exactly been his calling card over this point of his career. So I'd rather let him focus more on the offensive side of his game. And I'd love to see Stan Bowman find a guy who has a little bit of a two-way ability that can play in that 3C spot down the stretch, driving into the playoffs. Let Nuge stay up on the wing. I think he's better there. So ideally, I would have Roslovic on the right side and a new 3C in there. But for the time being, I like how he's playing with the two kids, and he's the most logical fit. Otherwise, you kind of have to break up that trio and put somebody else there. So I think this is kind of dance with the devil, and maybe we get an upgrade down the line.
You and I have watched Connor McDavid for over a decade now, and I know that you'll agree with me. We are constantly amazed by his athleticism and his brilliance and his ability to skate fast, think fast, and stick handle or pass very quickly and accurately. This particular run that he's on here over the last 20 games or so has been, a high watermark. And there are going to be a time in his career where he doesn't, reach these ridiculous levels. But, we're talking about a guy who's been 11 years in the NHL, hooked, slashed, whatever else, cross-checked, broken collarbone. What an amazing athlete. And we won't know where to rank him all time, but we really are looking at a very special player and one of the all-time best.
The thing I find myself repeating over and over again on OilersNation.com when I write about games or when I write about Connor McDavid is just talking about how I'm almost begging the audience to just really soak in what we're watching, because it's so abnormal. He's putting up beer league numbers in the best league on earth. He's over a point per game or 2 points per game, I should say, for the last 20 games. That is a quarter of the NHL season he's doing it for. This isn't like a run where he got hot over a weekend. This is a chunk of the NHL season where he's absolutely demolishing the opposition, and they don't really have answers for him. And even the other night when he puts up 2 points, only 2 points, come on, you slouch, Connor. It's done so quietly and efficiently that we're just so spoiled that we get to watch this every night. So I think the messaging for me that always comes back in my writing and when I talk on podcasts or even do hits like this with you is just, we got to really appreciate what we're watching here, because it is so beyond normal. This run of 20 games where he has 46 points in this 20-game stretch, I was thinking about this the other day. There are a significant chunk of players in the National Hockey League that would love to have that kind of production over the course of an entire season to get 46 points, let alone 20 games. So I'm just really enjoying it. I can't wait to watch him bring me out of my seat for one reason or another on a daily basis. And he's just been so much fun. It's playing at a level that looks like there should be another league on top of the NHL that he's waiting to be called up to.
I think that's very fair. I want to ask you, Bag Milk, about the goaltending. We all have our opinions about, Skinner and Pickard, and it feels like Stan Bowman has done a Colorado Avalanche here where he pulls 2 goalies out and puts 2 replacements in. And I want your thoughts on both Ingram and Tristan Jarry, if you would.
Sure. I mean, I'll start with Connor Ingram because it looks like he's getting the start tonight. If I'm reading this correctly, I just think he's been so steady and calm in the net. I think that I almost kind of forgot what it was like to have a goalie move so small and just minor adjustments to stay square to the puck. He always seems like he's in the right spot. Even when there's things going on around him and there's chaos around the crease, he seems to be in the mix and composed and in there. And I like that. I really like it. And then when it comes to Tristan Jarry, I actually thought that his game the other night was better than the stats probably would suggest. I know his save percentage was under 900 and he let in 4 goals, and that included rushing out in overtime to try and make a play. But I also gave him a little bit of a pass because, it had been a month since he played. And yeah, sure, he practiced, but that's not the same as playing in game situations. And he got thrown in there on the second half of the back-to-back on a game that I personally don't think that the skaters in front of them managed the puck very well. So I actually thought that he played quite well in his first game back. If it becomes a trend where he's letting in 4 goals per game, then obviously we have a different conversation coming. But I feel confident in a Jarry-Ingram tandem, and I didn't think I would say that when the season started because obviously we didn't know who would be there. But I think I feel confident in those two. What I'm most interested to see is how long we have this 3-headed monster running between the pipes and how they plan to get out of it without losing a body. Can you slide a Pickard through waivers and hope that he clears? I don't know, because other teams will probably look at what he did in the playoffs and be like, we could use an insurance policy just in case for the stretch run in our own playoff drive. So it's going to be fascinating to see how things play out in net. But in terms of Jarry and Ingram, I'm giving them both passing grades, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they can keep up their high level of play down the stretch.
We haven't seen Jake Wallman play much here recently because of injury. And it's too early to know where they're going to play him. He was with Stastny the other night. There's always been talk of he playing with Darnell Nurse on a 2-lefty second pairing. But how important is a guy like Wallman who can increase the quality of the puck moving and puck passing for this team, and also does some important things like blocking shots?
That was the first. I think it took me 2-3 shifts of him being back to notice the puck moving. And I went, oh man, I missed that first pass out of the zone. He has got very, very strong offensive instincts. He is another guy on the back end who can help move the puck out to where it needs to be. And no shot against Alec Regula. I think that he's done as best as he possibly can in his kind of rookie first season here in the NHL. But it's a clear upgrade going from Regula to Wallman. And while the organization and clearly the coaching staff is going to give him some time to get back up to speed, he did miss 2 months after all. He's a crucial piece of this D-core, and having him back, whether it's on the third pairing again tonight or as he gradually moves up as he gets his legs underneath him, it's only going to help improve the puck moving, which is going to improve the offense, which is going to improve the results, which is going to improve everything. He's a crucial piece of this defense. And having him out for the last 2 months, I think you really noticed it specifically on the puck moving side. And then even just the offensive instincts as well. He's got that big shot from the point. It seems to get through always at the perfect time when the Oilers need a goal. So I think it's a significant upgrade having him back. And I hope it doesn't take too long for him to get back up to speed.
So, while you and I are talking, the number one question is who are they going to get for number 3 center? Candidates, and we'll read them after you and I chat, include Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Jonathan Taves, Trocheck. I'm not sure who else was mentioned in there. Do you have a candidate, or are you kind of waiting to see if Roslovic can fill that role and maybe Lazar on the fourth line?
I mean, I don't have a specific candidate outside of one, and I guess it all depends on how the Nashville Predators do. And I also don't understand how the math works, Al, so I'm glad somebody smarter than me has to figure out these problems. But Ryan O'Reilly is a guy who would be a perfect fit for me. He is obviously a very experienced two-way centerman. He's a Conn Smythe Trophy winner. He's got a Selke Trophy. He can play 3C. That's kind of where he's at this point. He's got a lot of goals still in that stick of his. And I think that would give a real boost to the offense and the defense. You can kind of throw him out there in any situation. Again, at $4.5 million on his current deal, I don't know how they make that work, but I'm thankful. I just got to throw that idea out on the radio and hope that Stan Bowman and his staff can go execute.
Well, he'd be, because I want, the winger they pick up or the center they pick up for the bottom six. I think he needs to be a little bit of an agitator and a physical player and somebody who can upset the opposition and maybe get them off the game, because since Florida won the Stanley Cup, last spring, that's what the Oilers get is playing at the edge or beyond. And the one thing O'Reilly can do is do that.
I totally agree. I think that he just adds a different layer of player into the mix that the Oilers don't necessarily have. And to your point, a little bit of sandpaper never hurts. And also, just because I'm starting to feel my age a little bit with some of these young players playing, I like to see a guy on our team that doesn't have a visor. We don't have many of those left in the NHL. Might as well end it off here, just like the last helmetless player when we had Matt Key. So I'd like to see it.
I actually really like that idea. All right. How's Frank doing?
Frank's doing well, though he did pick the Oilers to beat the Predators the other day. So he has been a little bit upset over the last 2 days with the boys' lack of execution against the Predators. So he's looking to get back in the win column today, but ultimately he's feeling pretty good. The weather's been great. I'm going outside. So my boy is doing very, very well.
Love it.
And always, he's spoiled with snacks nonstop. So
there's nothing wrong with that. That's just a good day for everybody all around.
Amen.
All right. Thanks for this. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Al.
There you go. Bag Milk. Talking about the Edmonton Oilers, the game tonight, what we might see. Triple C in a truck. Nuge is the 3C. Why are they denying it? Perfect mentor for the young kids on how I'm playing responsible hockey. I agree with you, but I also understand why the coach is like, why would I break up this top line? Like, Connor McDavid is playing at like historic levels. You don't want to be the coach who, I'm taking Nuge away and then McDavid, not that he would, but if something happened where he stopped, delivering at this ridiculous level, I think you've got to wait till there's a cooling period on that top line before you make a move. Hey, Lowetide, do you think Jonathan Taves trade could make an impact on this team? He's been scoring lately, and you have to think experience would be an addition these younger wingers on the team. I'm not sure about what would be required and what the cap would be, and I know Taves has struggled early and coming on a little bit, but I think that when they signed him, I immediately thought of when Brian Trottier went to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and obviously he was more of an impact player and he had fewer injuries that would have impacted him at that time, but that's what my brain led me to. So I think in spirit, and I understand the idea, I would say that it's worth checking out. Okay, it's 1:15, Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. On the way, we're going to talk to Andrew Gross from Newsday about the New York Islanders, about their strong goaltending, not just one goalie playing well, and about this ridiculous rookie that everybody's talking about. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Hear ye, hear ye. Dragon fruit has returned to Booster Juice. Prepare thyself for the legendary alchemy of the Dragon Slayer smoothie, Pink Dragon Booster Mixer, and Dragon Booster Ball. Yeah. Does the dragon taste like chicken? Nay, Booster Juice uses only delicious tropical dragon fruit. No dragons are harmed. Get thee to Booster Juice before dragon fruit vanishes once more.
Booster Juice, Canadian-born, blending since 1999.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, We are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9. Check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
I'm Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy, and sadly, some people think orthotics are just glorified shoe cushions. But I've seen a runner drop 8 minutes off her marathon, a grandmother ditch her painkillers, and a 12-year-old nail her long jump, all thanks to custom foot orthotics. So if your feet are screaming for help, flat, high, or funky, that pain's heading to your knees, hips, even your lower back, our professionals will assess you and, if indicated, custom fabricate a pair of orthotics made just for you. Happy feet make a happy person. Feet shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The BCHL All-Star Game is coming to the Thompson Family Arena in Spruce Grove. The league's best players will go head-to-head in 2 exciting games, January 16th and 17th. The BCHL College Prospects Game takes place on Friday, January 16th at 7 p.m., while the premier matchup will see Canada take on the world on Saturday, January 17th at 7:30 p.m. For ticket inquiries and excellent group ticket packages, go to tickets.sgsaints.ca.
Seriously, another door knocker? I really want to go solar, but these high-pressure tactics are exhausting.
And their prices are unbelievable. Before we do anything, let's call Great Canadian Solar.
There's a better way to go solar. Great Canadian Solar provides honest advice and fair pricing to save you from overpaying. They're easy to deal with and will never put pressure on you to buy. As a trusted local business for over 15 years, Great Canadian Solar will support you in your solar journey. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com and call today to get started.
Diablo Boots sells only Canadian-made work and biker boots made by Canada West. No American or boots made in China, so no tariffs. All of Diablo's boots have replaceable soles and heels for longer life. Sizes 6 to 14 Triple E. Buy quality, buy Canadian. And support Canada West and Diablo, the 2 best names in the boot business. So save on boots by Save On Foods. That's Diablo Boots, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out at wolfgmcbuick.com. Joined now by Andrew Gross, well-known drummer, and also covers the Isles for Newsday. How are you?
Thanks for remembering. I was wondering if I had just played on that track that you let in with. So
I was thinking, I mean, that was pretty good drumming, and I thought, hey, he probably is, grooving on that. So there you go.
Yeah, no, I had the head moving there.
Yeah, there you go. Now it must be, I know you've covered the Rangers and Devils before, and the Islanders as well. So I'm sure there's been some tough years where maybe you're covering, replacing, managers or coaches or deadlines, sell-offs or whatever. Got to be a lot of fun to follow and pay attention to and cover a team with young talent and doing pretty well are the New York Islanders.
Yeah, no, this I think you hit it on the head. It's been a fun season. There's a lot of energy around the organization, not just for what they can do this season, and they're right in the middle of the playoff hunt right now, but what's to come. And so much of that stems from Matthew Schaefer and what he's brought, the energy, and just, how telegenic and marketable he is. In New York, obviously, like you mentioned, there are 3 teams. Really, the Rangers kind of rule the roost there in terms of the size of their fan base and and the attention they get. But I did a story earlier this season talking to some marketing people and people around the league, and also people with the Islanders. And there's a real belief that because of Matthew Schaefer, the Islanders can more than hold their own in terms of marketability and being the team in New York you really want to watch.
Well, it's interesting to me because I'm old enough to remember, Dennis Potvin when he was, all the rage as a rookie in 1973. But, he was 20. And the world was a different place. It was a different league. But this is an 18-year-old who skates so damn well. You're just kind of shock and awe. And he's 6'2". You can see what he is, and you can project what he's going to be. There are home runs, and then there's whatever the bloody Blue Blazes drafting Matthew Schaefer was.
It was such a confluence. Matthew Darche gets this job taking over for Lou Lamoriello, and Darche, he almost has to just smile. I mean, there was no way the Islanders should have won that draft lottery, right? They had like a 3.5% chance, I think it was, of getting the correct ping pong balls to come up, and all of a sudden it's right there. And like you say, in terms of a home run, now everyone had to do the obligatory. Are the Islanders going to draft Schaefer? Is it going to be Michael Nisa? Which way are they going? But if you talk to Darche now, as soon as he saw the tapes and he spoke to Matthew Schaefer for the first time in Buffalo at the scouting combine, there was no doubt which way you were going to go. I'm not saying the other prospects, they all have their merits. They're all good players, but Matthew Schaefer was the generational talent in this draft. And like you said, no brainer. And I guess the surprise maybe to some in the organization is just, how quickly it's come, because he's a defenseman. He's not a forward. Even Connor McDavid was talking about the difference at 18 between being a forward and a defenseman, relating it back to his experiences coming into the NHL. And not only has Schaefer held his own, but he forced his way. I mean, he made the roster coming out of training camp, but you could sort of tell that first day of training camp. But he forced his way onto the top pair really quickly into the season. I'm talking, within a couple of weeks of the season starting, he forced his way to quarterback the first power play unit really quickly into the season. Talent wins out, and Schaefer at 18 is just really, it's sort of unnatural how confident he plays at that age. And I'm not talking about cocky. He's not a cocky personality. His father, Todd, and his late mother did such a wonderful job with him. But he is just so comfortable in his own skin that just everything works for him.
The Islanders made a deal, a big deal. They traded Noah Dobson, same day, same draft. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I'm not understanding that. I understand they're building or whatever. And we're early days, and time will tell us. But it feels like, they pick up an NHL player. He's doing well. They get a couple of draft picks, and, based on what we are seeing now, it looks like everybody's matriculating here. Will we look back on this, New York Islanders 2025 draft and maybe have the same feeling about the Islanders 1974 draft when they picked up Clark Gillies and Brian Trottier?
Yeah. I mean, well, look, those are two Hall of Famers who were the foundation of four Stanley Cups in a row, which I don't think you'll see any team ever do again, right? Just because of the salary cap and everything else that goes into it, how long and how grueling the season is now, yada, 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 right? But specifically about the draft, like we said, Schaefer, a home run, he's a foundational piece that as soon as you can lock this kid up to a huge extension, do it. I know he's on an entry-level deal here, But as soon as it's possible to throw a lot of money at him, throw a lot of money at him. Don't let him ever get to the John Tavares point of walking out the door. But beyond that, getting Eklund and Aitchison in the first round. Where he gave up 4 goals in 5 of his first 7 starts, and wound up, they wound up switching goalie coaches as a result. Piero Greco, who had been here since Lou Lamoriello arrived from Toronto in 2018, was let go as the goalie coach, and he had worked with Ilya throughout his NHL career, and instead the Islanders bring in Sergei Naumov, who is working at the AHL level, but more importantly, Naumov's was Ilya's sort of personal goalie coach going back to their days in the KHL together. And since they made the switch, Ilya has looked much more confident. He's much more aggressive in the crease. His rebound control is really, really good. And not only is he playing like a guy who, should be in the Vezina, top 3, if not win it for the first time. But as I wrote the other day, he's a guy that us voters are going to have to consider when it comes to the Hart Trophy if things continue to project and go the way they've been going for Ilya Sorokin. Now, it's a tough day to say that. He's starting tonight. He gave up 4 goals in Winnipeg. The defense was terrible in Winnipeg, but there were a couple of shots. Maybe he, on another night he saves. Kind of tough to tell with the traffic Winnipeg was getting. But yeah, Ilya Sorokin and also David Riddick, in Alberta, obviously, him from the Flames, but he's come in after playing with the Kings the last couple of seasons, and he's been incredibly solid as Sorokin's backup. He's 11-5-3 with the 2.39 GAA and a 9.10 save percentage. And when Ilya had to miss 7 games with a lower body issue recently, I believe Riddick came in and won 4 of those games. And he's been a really good free agent signing by Matthew Darsh.
Thanks so much for this. Appreciate it. Enjoy the game tonight.
All right. You have a good one. Thanks for having me on.
All right. There you go. Enjoyed that. Otter has always been a team of interest for me. Thank you to Andrew Gross from Newsday. Because I remember very well when they came into the league. And if you go back and look at NHL history, the greatest general managers of my lifetime are names like Sam Pollock and Glenn Sather and Lou Lamoriello and Bill Torrey. And 2 of those cats were managers in New York with the Islanders. And Bill Torrey built that New York Islanders team from 1972 to 80. And he did it piece by piece, and he really did a good job. And one of my favorite stories, if I'm ever going to write a bunch of books, I'd write one on Bill Torrey, because I think he's a very interesting historical figure in the National Hockey League. It's 1:33. We're just ahead. We're going to do Declan CAA. We've talked about the idea of discussing college football. Are we going to have time to talk NFL too, or should we save that for Friday?
Well, I think we should definitely do like a deep dive preview tomorrow. It's just a little bit more topical and what have you. But
we will do our predictions too, right? Like, I always like to get Josh, not to be rude, but Josh kind of hammered you a little bit last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, one more game than me if you want to call it.
I think it was 2, wasn't it, Josh? I think you guys had figured that the Eagles had been chosen by Declan.
That was the one.
Deck did choose the Eagles, and then we thought you chose the Chargers as well. I guess I have to go back through the tape and find it.
I did pick the Chargers.
Okay, so that's 2.
No, didn't you pick the Chargers?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it was 2.
Yeah.
No, but you went.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
I did pick the Chargers also.
Because you went 4-1.
I
went
picked the 49ers. You picked the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's
This
where
is
the difference was.
Wildly irritating to me, because you sound like the chipmunks on Bugs Bunny. I need you to disagree, not agree.
Hey, man, we just know ball.
All right. On the way, we're going to have Declanations talking NCAA football. Big game coming up. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Weekly NFL giveaways, quick specials, huge screen TVs. The hits keep coming at First Round, Edmonton's NFL headquarters. Watch NFL football at First Round, and you could win a trip to your favorite NFL city for a regular season game next season. Catch NFL action Thursday nights, all day Sunday, starting with the Pro Bowl brunch from 10:30 to 2. Then Monday night with half-price boneless wings after 6 p.m. First Round, burgers, beer, sports. Downtown and Bourbon Street, West Edmonton Mall.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
He's a legend in the booth and a master on the mic. Lowetide brings the banter weekdays from noon to 2. Sports 1440 is where Edmonton talks sports. Get in the game. Text 833-401-1440.
Looking for auto parts without the dealership price tag? You'll save big here at Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlaw. From engines and alternators to doors and glass, we carry quality tested used parts at unbeatable prices. Why spend thousands when you can spend hundreds? Keep your car and your budget running strong with Ed's Auto Salvage. I'm Lisa, inviting you to stop in soon or visit us online. We offer province-wide shipping and daily delivery to Edmonton. edsautosalvage.com.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
He knows all about the Expos and Oilers. It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick at 138. Breezy day, nice day. Earlier, we talked about the end of winter. That caused a little bit of a commotion, but we'll see how it rolls out in February. Some believe the coldest month of the year. It's time for Declinations, brought to you by Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca. Article, podcast, and more breaking down the green and gold. The most in-depth Double E football coverage online, elksnation.ca. Still need a photo of young Declan there. But other than that, it's a perfect website. Declan, are you ready?
Yeah, national championship game on Monday.
How excited are you? Because you were talking Indiana, I don't know, it was early on about how they were, maybe doing things that were unusual or historically out there. And here we are.
I mean, it's just incredible. It doesn't make sense. It is, obviously they got one game left to go, and Miami's a very good team, and Miami's knocked off Texas A&M, who was a one-loss team at the top of the SEC. They knocked off Ohio State. They beat, Ole Miss, who was obviously a semifinal team to get there. Like they're no pushover, and they got a great coach in Mario Cristobal, who's the former Oregon head coach. They got a veteran experienced quarterback who is kind of a game manager, but they got talent in Fletcher and Tony and Bain and Messidor on the as the edge rushers. Like, they're a good team, so the job's not finished for Indiana. But this is, it's the greatest coaching performance I've ever seen in my life. Like, I really can't describe to people enough how incredible this turnaround is. Like, the best way I can think to do it is taking the worst team in the AHL and turning them into a Stanley Cup team in 2 years. Like, that's what Kurt Cignetti has done in Indiana.
So let's talk a little bit about recruiting, because it's, they're obviously there's some aggressive programs out there. How did they do it?
Yeah, through Kurt Cignetti, really, and just getting guys to buy in. Like, obviously the transfer portal has been a part of it. They got Fernando Mendoza from Cal. But, like, did anyone on the text line know how many of you guys were watching Cal last year thinking Fernando Mendoza was going to be the number one pick in the draft after going to Indiana? Like, they used the transfer portal to get guys from JMU. It's not like they went out and they bought Ohio State's best players and Georgia's best players and Texas's best players and Oregon's best players. Like, they went out and got guys from a school that was an FCS school 2 years ago, and just guys no one had ever heard of. And they have some older players, but that's the lay of the land in college football right now. Like, you look at, Oregon it was a combined 55 4- and 5-star recruits. I think they had 15 5-stars, 40 4-stars. Indiana had 0 5-stars, 7 or 8 4-stars. Like, it's a coaching masterclass. He gets everyone to buy in. Everyone plays within the system. Fernando Mendoza is incredible. He's going to be the number one pick in the draft, or the number one quarterback taken in the draft, probably the number one pick, because Vegas has that pick. Like, it's just, I can't put into words. And it's so funny because, like, I really don't want to see the graphic that Bleacher Report or ESPN or SportsCenter tweets out if Indiana loses. Like, despite Indiana losing, what a season by Kurt Cignetti. Like, I think this is their window to do it. I think they can do it. I'm just so excited to watch it, because it's really like, yeah, obviously people aren't watching college football nearly as much as I am. And I mean this with no disrespect. I think people probably just don't understand the lay of the land the way I do. And obviously that's just because I'm passionate about it. I watch it a lot more, but like, what he's done is just so unfathomable.
So let me ask you this, because this to me would be where we'll look back 5 years from now. Do you think, based on the talent that they have, and you mentioned veteran in that paragraph that you just uttered a few times. Are there several NFL futures on this roster, or is it going to be this is the biggest game of their life and they probably won't have much of an NFL future?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely going to be some guys like Mendoza, obviously the quarterback is going to be the first pick. D'Angelo Pons at corner is going to play in the league. I think Elijah Surratt is a guy who's able to play in the league. And then they have, some linemen on both sides of the ball who I think can play there too. But yeah, like it's not like Ohio State where you look at, Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs and Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith and Bo Jackson and be like, and Bo Jackson maybe doesn't belong in that combo, but be like, yeah, you can lock them in for, the NFL. Like it's just Miami has a bunch of guys like Ruben Bain, Akeem Messidor, the Canadian, like I talked about, like they have guys who are just, kind of lock-ins for the first round, and Indiana really just doesn't have that. And no, they have some guys. I'm not saying they don't have guys who aren't going to be in NFL players, and they have guys kind of on every area of the football team, but it's not like some of these big name blue chip programs. It's crazy though. Like I just can't get over it. And like, it really sucks for me because Oregon, I think, is the best team in college football to never win a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Like the team that's been consistently good for the longest and consistently been one of the best teams in the nation. And they go out there and they get absolutely they get belt to ass by Indiana. Like Michael Irvin hitting that garbage can on the sidelines for Miami. Like that's what Indiana did to Oregon. And it sucks because if you're Oregon, you're like, man, if not now, when? Like when?
Yeah.
But Indiana, it's like such a special story. You can't help but feel good about them.
So in college football history, there have been like stories where one player like Stallworth in 74 and Jerry Rice went to Mississippi Valley State University. They're kind of outliers, one-offs. And you mentioned the transfer portal. So is this something that is possible because of the way the world is in the NCAA? Is this repeatable, or is this just such a special thing? We'll never see this happen again. And it's a great coach married to some fantastic recruits.
Well, I think it's like definitely more possible now than ever, right? But I really do think Kurt Cignetti is such a special coach, and he is such a special individual in what he's done, that I think it is hard to replicate. And here's the other thing Kurt Cignetti has done. Like if you're a college coach, you don't have any excuse anymore. Like you don't have any excuse. You don't, like Lincoln Riley talking about going to USC, by the way, going to USC, one of the blue bloods of blue bloods, and being like, I have to rebuild the roster and, it's going to be tough and it's going to be an adjustment period. Meanwhile, Kurt Cignetti goes from JMU to Indiana and has them as the national title favorite in 2 years. And again, game still needs to be played. I'm not overlooking. No one's overlooking Miami. They're a very good team, but it's like no coach has an excuse anymore. No one can, like, you have 2 years now if you're a coach, and ADs know any coach they hire, they have 2 years, and everyone is going to be on the hot seat because of what Kurt Cignetti's done. If he can do it in Indiana, you can literally do it anywhere.
Well, that's not exactly a blue blood, program when he got there, right?
They had the most losses in college football history when he got there, in FBS history.
Okay, now the next question is, now that national championship, there's going to be a lot of attention, going to be able to recruit like more obvious, high level players. So are we looking at a program here that we're going to hear a lot about in the next few years?
I think so. And I also think, I don't think Indiana's going to, I could be wrong, but I wouldn't imagine they're going to repeat this success next year, just because, for one, it's like tough to do, period, in this current landscape of college football with, transfer portal and with NIL. Like you look at a team like Ohio State, how talented they've been. They haven't won the Big Ten for 5 years. Like Indiana and Oregon have won it more recently than they have. You look at a team like, Georgia, who now kind of goes through some ebbs and flows after a very dominant early 2020s. Alabama, maybe the best example. So it is kind of hard to do year in, year out. It's not like the top level teams are going to stay top level, but I do expect some drop off from Indiana just because I think that's natural. But I also think like there is going to be something to be said for like, wow, this is probably a real powerhouse program moving forward.
It's so fascinating. Your USC thing is sticking with me because, maybe they hired the wrong guy.
Well, it's funny. Like Lincoln Riley, when he was a home run hire, he did an unbelievable job at Oklahoma with Caleb Williams, transferred to USC, did an unreal job with him there. Like really just maximized the offense, was an unbelievable offensive mind. He's the 4th highest paid coach in college football right now. And I always kind of describe that. Like it'd be like if Trevor Zegras was the 4th highest paid NHL player. Maybe that's a little disingenuous to Lincoln Riley, but it is kind of like he was like, it's been, you can't call it a failure because they've had decent seasons, but like it's been so underwhelming what he's done at USC. And USC is a program who doesn't, like, you can't have this sustained drop that USC has had for however many years. And Lincoln Riley was supposed to turn it around. It just kind of hasn't.
I love the way you framed that, where no coach in NCAA football can say, really, when you say that, going to be a long, arduous oh, really? We just saw it happen, right?
Like, if I was a coach, I'd be so pissed at Kurt Cignetti because he eliminated any excuse from another coach's vernacular. Shout out Sig, man. Listen, if they lose the game, it'll suck. Like, it'll still be an unreal season what they've done, but if they lose, it'll suck.
Final question for me. This feels like a movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're going to get one, do you think?
Kurt said that. He said, like, when someone was interviewing him after one of the games and was talking about like the turnaround, and he's like, it'll be a heck of a movie, hey? He's just he's a quote machine too.
Yeah. I love it. Easy program and person to cheer for.
Monday night, everyone watch the game. It'll be fun.
All right. Do you have anything else?
Nah, I'm cool.
Greater Man Jay, Lowetide Bruins question. As a kid, idolized Cam Neely. Just curious where he falls on your Bruins list of all-time greatest. He's right up there. Neely was a Vancouver Canucks, player. And he was going to have a great career, but he went to Boston and he was just perfect for that Boston Garden. It was a smaller building than NHL regulation. It had obviously been built 1,000 years ago. And Neely was, young Josh never saw Neely, but he saw Iginla. And Iginla would be, for me, a like fairly modern comparable. Neely had obviously some injury issues, but he was a substantial scorer, but he was also really, really tough, like just tough as nails tough. And I loved him from that point. He wasn't fast or anything like that, but he could score goals, had a really nice shot, and he was always around the net, and he never backed down from anybody. He was really, he personified the Bruins in his era the same way Terry O'Reilly personified the Bruins in his. And that's like, I'm taking nothing from you except, I'm going to give it back double. And that's what O'Reilly and Neely did. So all-time great, I think. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. I don't know where that came from. Declan?
Hey, I didn't do anything.
Well, Connor's been scraping all the ledges and things here before I get in here. So JB and the Loader, Declan, as usual, couldn't agree more with your points about college football. I think Lincoln Riley is the most overrated coach in football, college football, other than Brian Kelly. Well, into that.
Hey, appreciate that text, JB and the Loader. Means a lot. And you're absolutely right about Brian Kelly. My goodness, are you ever right?
Rig says, Declan, will we see many Indiana players in the CFL? Also, how good is Mendoza's younger brother?
Alberto Mendoza. Not as good as Fernando, that's for sure. I don't know what the neg lists look like for CFL teams with Indiana players.
Them.
They actually are. They have now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have now. Right. And I don't know what the mock draft looks like. If I it'd be tough to hazard a guess. I would I would think some for sure, but it'd be really tough for me to give you an exact number. And for that, I do apologize.
Well, that's okay. I mean, that's a spur of the moment question. Right?
Well, I hate being asked questions and not knowing the answer. I always feel really bad when I don't have one.
I was always taught that if you don't know the answer, you look to Josh or to Declan and ask them. And then if that doesn't work, then you say, I'll get back to you.
Well, I always feel bad. Like I come in here like very honest. Like sometimes I'll just say like right off the top, like, hey guys, didn't watch the game last night. Not sure.
That's fair.
Because I just don't want to give, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to dig myself a hole or anything.
Yeah. And I think Josh does too. I usually watch, if I don't see the game, I watch it before I hit the air the next day. Do you do that, Josh?
At the bare minimum, I watch the goals.
Right.
Well, got to watch the highlights.
NHL.com. Just they're nice little 40-second clips or whatever, so I'll get in and watch those. But yeah, Sportsnet Plus premium bundle is gonna be a game changer here.
Ed says Lowetide can't hear the buzz, but we hear the whining. Is it your nose? Well, that's very hurtful.
Zinger. Oh! Got dunked on.
Well, I thought we had a very interesting day today, gentlemen.
Today was a day, for sure.
I slapped back a little bit on the Jalen Hurts madness of earlier in the week. We had a nice conversation.
Just because he might be likable doesn't mean he's good at his job.
Well, I worry about him.
Great at his job.
I worry about him. He's at that age now where he's not the same player that he was, and now the Eagles are saddled with a guy who can't win the Super Bowl. That's what I worry about.
I don't know. Maybe with a new OC, things will change, but except for his ability to throw downfield, which it seems he does not have the ability to do accurately.
But you also have, Barkley's a year older, and he's been run over a few more times by a transport truck.
And running back years are like dog years.
No.
If you're a 29-year-old running back, your knees are 84 years old.
Like the fact that Frank Gore played for as long as he did.
Dude.
You know what, though?
Insane.
One of the saddest things that's going to happen to both of you as you get older is...
Our knees are going to go?
You're going to be driving down the road, and you're going to hear... NFL football player, blah, 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 died at 45. They don't last long. They really, for the most part, the age of an NFL football player is much less than the average population because they put up with so much. It's kind of sad. It happens like that. All right. Jason Krueger on the way. We've got the pre and the post as well. Oilers in action tonight. This will be a tough one. This is not an automatic 2 points against the New York Islanders. And we'll be back to talk about that and more tomorrow, including Lansky. And, of course, we'll go over the NFL schedule on the weekend as well. Thanks for listening to The Lowdown. Please enjoy your day.
Brought to you by meals.loca.ca. Dinner just got a whole lot easier and tastier. Head to meals.loca.ca, select the number of chef-crafted meals you'd like to heat, and get them delivered to your door every Sunday for as low as under $10 per serving. Just heat, eat, and repeat. Meals.loca.ca. Edmonton Oilers, of course, in action tonight, playing host to the New York Islanders. 7 p.m. puck drop for that one. Connor Ingram in the starter's net. Other games around the league include the Canadiens and Sabres, Flyers and Pens, Sharks and Caps, and Canucks and Blue Jackets, all at 5. Then the late game in the NHL tonight, we'll see the Toronto Maple Leafs in Vegas with a 7:30 p.m. puck drop. In the NBA today, Detroit and Phoenix at 5 o'clock, Boston and Miami at 5:30, OKC and Houston at the same time. In the late game, we'll see the Charlotte Hornets and Los Angeles Lakers at 8:30. News from around the sporting world is Kyle Tucker's decision could come today with the Jays among the likely final 3, along with the Mets and Dodgers. 15 former NCAA players among those charged in an alleged scheme to fix basketball games. And the NBA is hoping that Ja Morant can play in the Grizzlies Magic game in London on Sunday. That's going to do it for us here on the show. Up next is the Jason Krueger Show with Connor Halley. On behalf of Josh Fenwick and Lowetide, I'm Declan Krueger.